And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our first amateur bout of the evening, scheduled for 3 rounds at a catch weight 167 pounds. Introducing first, the man fighting out of the Coliseum Bar, red corner. He stands in at 5 foot 8 inches tall. He weighed in at 167 1/2 pounds. He represents neutral ground, mixed martial arts in 4 bouts. He has 1 victory. That victory comes by way of submission. Ladies and gentlemen, J.D. Ballew. His opponent is the man fighting out of the Harley-Davidson of Madison, blue corner. He stands in at 5 foot 7 inches tall, weighing in at 166 ready pounds. He hails from right here in Madison, Wisconsin, and is making his cage debut for Chosen Few Fighting Championships. Representing the Chosen Few Gym, Benigno, Barrera.
All right, both fighters just about set to go as our referees gives the final instructions to both, and we are set for a full card here tonight. As the referee brings them forward, we are just about set. Rich Reynolds along with Chris Garrity sitting beside me, and we are set for action here tonight. Our first fight as Benigno Barrera making his debut out of the Chosen Few. And Chris, what do you know about Benigno?
Benigno is somebody that Josh was really excited about. Josh Steery, for those of you who don't know, runs the Chosen Few Gym, also sets up the show here. He lights Benigno's hands. He's been working on his ground game. Right here, he's trying to avoid a takedown from JD and cannot do it. He's got decent position right here, but it looks like he's about to be put on his back from JD.
Now, for a lot of guys, it kind of depends on their background as to what they're more comfortable with. What do you know about Benigno? Is he better wrestling? Is he better on his feet? What type of fighter do we see?
He's still going to be too green to say what he's better at. This is the type of fighter still trying to figure out who he is. And you see it right there with that back kick he threw. Very undeveloped, which meant he hasn't had much stand-up in his life where he can throw a spinning kick. And he takes a big right hand right there from JD.
Couple of good shots there from Ballew. Ballew does have some experience. He comes in with a record of 1-3, so he's been in the cage. It's Barrera now trying to fight back with a good right hand. Barrera on his feet, switching to a left-handed stance right now, trying to eye up Ballew. Ballew coming in with a couple of rights, has him up against the cage right here. So Ballew definitely the more experience of the fighter. What does that mean in the ring for him? What kind of dividends does that pay?
What it means is what you just saw with those 3 right hands that he threw. He knew he could go right down the center any time that the Barrera's in his left-handed stance, and he connected. And as you saw when he threw all 3 together, that he connected with all of them.
Barrera now able to get onto the grasp of Ballew. They're back to the center of the cage right now. Big right hand just over the top. He missed with it, and Ballew comes back with that right hand. And now Barrera pushes Ballew into the cage, uses the knee here. You know, we talked a little bit about the fight. We didn't get into it in depth. A couple of rules changes going on as well. What's new on the rules end? What are we going to see for the amateurs?
So as far as amateur rules went, the things that they changed weren't real huge changes. What they were is clarifications of a lot of rules. Now with the amateurs, what you'll see different from at least the professional fights is they're not allowed to throw any knees to the head at any period of time. They're not allowed to throw any elbows no matter what.
Okay.
So on the ground, upwards, you can't even throw an elbow or a forearm to the body, to the legs, anything. You throw that, you're going to have a point deducted, possibly disqualified. So what they did is they just clarified a lot of those rules.
Both fighters back to the center of the ring right now. The action slowed just a little bit here right now. First round of the first fight, 12 scheduled fights. And one of the cool things about this card, even tonight, all that action, all the fighters are here, showed up on time. That doesn't happen all the time with these cards, does it?
No, I see it as a bad omen. I work so many of these fights that usually the bad stuff happens beforehand. We had such a great beginning of the show because everybody was here. Now I'm worried that the cage is going to break down and everybody's going to fall and die or something.
We got through the first round. We'll be back with the action for round number 2. You're watching Chosen Few on Wisconsin's 57 Sports. Coming back for round number 2 and round number 1. What did you see, Chris? How do you score it?
I saw the veteran fighter, the guy with more experience, J.D. Ballew, especially with those rights that he landed. He did have the one knockdown in the fight, so I definitely see a 10-9. If it was my scorecard, I've got Ballew up 10-9.
No argument here as well as we get set for the second round here tonight. Great crowd once again, as always, for Chosen Few. Packed house here tonight, as a sellout crowd still filing in as we're in the early stages of our night here.
A beautiful venue, too.
Isn't it great?
You can't pick a better spot for fights.
Absolutely beautiful. As Barrera got hit as Ballew landing a shot to the chin. Now Barrera fighting back, a couple of jabs, trying to keep Ballew off him. But Ballew right now seems to be once again the aggressor and seems to be much more of the general in charge here in the early rounds of this fight.
And what you saw is that he saw the right hand land in the first round. He knows it's going to land in the second round. Barrera hasn't done anything to sew that up. And he keeps throwing that spinning back kick.
Oh, and a big right. Barrera's down. And now a barrage of rights as Barrera covering up, trying to hold on to the leg of Ballew as he caught a shot from Barrera. Keeps throwing the hands in to the face of Barrera. Barrera holding on for dear life, back on his feet, and is able to fight out of it.
Great recovery
and
by Barrera.
A big takedown by Ballew. Holy cow, the action's picked up here.
That was a great recovery by Barrera, but look, he gets put right back in a bad spot. But something that JD said, we talked about at the beginning of the round, that right hand is landing. If I was JD right now, I'd let him go and stand up.
JD now working the ground game a little bit on top of Barrera. Barrera holding on. This is happening right in front of us. As you can see, there is some blood on the face of Benigno Barrera, which is now transferring over to the chest of Ballew, and Ballew rains down a left hand.
What JD was trying to do there, if you saw it, when he had him in the headlock with his right hands, he was trying to take Barrera's right arm and put it in between his legs. That's what's called a tarantula. It's a form of an armbar you don't see a lot. It's too bad we didn't get to see that submission. I love that submission.
Barrera trying to get out of this right now and back on his feet. He's on all fours, but a good job right now of Ballew getting on top. And now Barrera's reversed it.
Big mistake for Ballew. He had top control, was sinking in a rear naked, and now Barrera's laying down some damage.
Thought we might have seen the end of the fight. Instead, now Barrera has been able to reverse this and is driving into Ballew and is trying to get back on top, using his arms, using his legs to drive in. Ballew doing everything he can right now to fight off Barrera.
And some background on Ballew, he didn't make weight. That's why this fight is at a catch weight. You can see he's not in as good a shape as Barrera, and it's taken its toll right now. He had complete control of this fight, and because he wasn't in shape, he's getting beat up right now.
Saw that, and we saw that the fight was listed at 155 pounds. You announced the catch weight at 168. And when a fighter doesn't come in shape, boy, that does not work out well for you. And it doesn't here, as in his debut, Benigno Barrera fights off J.D. Ballew and gets the big win.
Rich, 2 knockdowns, and he comes back and win the fight on sheer perseverance and getting to a fighter that was not in shape. He was outmatched, he was outworked up until the last 30 seconds of that round, and Barrera gets his first win.
And training comes in, and it helps Barrera get his first win. We will come back with the announcements and more. As let's actually hold it, we'll keep it right here. We'll take a look at the replay and the finishing touches that Barrera was able to put on Ballew as the rights and lefts, and there's the ref calling it right there. And we'll be back with the official announcements as you're watching Chosen Few Fighting Championships number 10 on Wisconsin's 57 Sports. Wow, what a great first fight that we've had, the first of 12 here tonight. And if they're all going to be like that, we are in for some great action here as Benigno Barrera making his debut out of the Chosen Few gym. Did such a great job. He was knocked down twice, looked like he was going to be out. He was up against the cage and was taking all kinds of punishment, and he fought off the punishment. As look at Barrera here as he was able to get on top of Ballew, used the right and left hands to finish Ballew off. He got top control, and Ballew didn't have an answer. And as Chris was talking about too, Ballew came in out of shape and wasn't able to endure here in the second round. So we're going to head right up to the cage right now for the official announcement and Chris Garrity.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end of this bout comes at 2 minutes 47 seconds of round number 2 for your winner by TKO, Benigno Barrera.
Great fight here to start off our card of Chosen Few Fighting Championships number 10. We got 2 fighters who are going to be making their debut. That is coming up next, right here on Wisconsin's 57 Sports.